What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're going to jump in with a bunch of Destiny 2 news and stuff to round up about Season 5. So we'll speak about Black Armory and the new season, we're going to talk about purchase options, some of the new DLC content, we'll also touch on the new vendor hub and some interesting new DLC artwork with some cool weapons. We're going to talk about the Season 5 update, post-launch updates in Black Armory, some of the changes we can expect, plus additional roundups of news from Bungie, stuff in the game this week, and a bunch of other info to take note of. So if you guys enjoyed the video, a rating really helps me out down below. But now let's get into it. So we've got plenty of cool stuff to talk about in this video. Just before we get into it, to reiterate, of course, Black Armory launches on the 4th of December, and Season 5 will begin on the 27th of November, so that's just next week. And it leaves us a few days to clear up a bunch of content in Season 4 if we're trying to get everything done. But of course, it's pretty late for a reveal of Black Armory, so players have certainly been curious. There was actually a question right here, is Black Armory going to be sold separately? And Bungie said, it's part of the annual pass and not sold separately. So that's some useful clarification right there. You can't actually purchase Black Armory on its own. You do have to purchase the entirety of the annual pass, so that will be the 3 content updates happening this year. And it does start to make sense as to why we haven't seen a reveal of Black Armory, because Bungie aren't actually selling Black Armory to people, they're selling the entire annual pass. And that's why we're going to get a vidoc about the annual pass next week, as opposed to a direct reveal for Black Armory. But of course we will get a bunch of information about Black Armory, and I would expect later next week we would definitely get some separate news and information about this particular update. But let me know your thoughts about that, those purchase options right there. It's possible that some of the later updates in the annual pass could be sold separately, but for now the full pass is the purchase option. Of course, this week inside of Gambit we have double and triple infamy. Triple infamy will be running over the weekend, and DMG said it will last through to November 27th, but there will be some downtime for maintenance on that date prior to the reset. He says we don't have times just yet, but of course November 27th is when we get the Season 5 update, so do bear in mind a few hours before that there will be some downtime. We get a couple of bits of information right here. Of course, there is the Harbinger's Echo exotic sparrow. You get this by destroying all of the corrupted eggs in Dreaming City. There is a bug where some players aren't actually getting this dropped if they've cleared the eggs across multiple characters. And DMG said, it looks like a fix is planned for hotfix 2.1.1. The release date is to be decided, but it should be pretty quick after the Season 5 update on the 27th of November. So as well as the update that we get on the 27th, we're probably going to get another hotfix shortly after, within a couple of weeks' time. And as well as any emerging issues with Black Armory, they'll be addressing some of the known issues with Forsaken right now as well. But just to clarify, because we have had a little bit of fragmented information, on the 27th of November, of course that's when Season 5 begins, there will be an update to the game, and we can expect a lot of changes here. We'll have to wait for full patch notes next week, but it will include changes to supers. So Spectral Blades will actually get a buff, and so will Chaos Reach, and you can see some of those changes on the screen right now. There'll be additional changes to Gambit bounties, including that the points you get when you turn them in have actually been doubled. Many of the bounties have been retuned to be less difficult and time consuming, and subdivision rank ups inside of Gambit award legendary weapons and armor, so we will get more legendary rewards as we play Gambit. This is something that's also being implemented into Crucible, and there will also be some performance changes which we spoke about before, including loading times on consoles. We'll talk a little bit more about some updates and changes in just a moment's time, but of course last week is the first time that we saw the artwork for the annual pass. And of course we learned a bunch of information about Black Armory, Joker's Wild and Season of the Drifter, and we now know that the final season in Year 2 will be Season of the Shadow. There was a variation of the main artwork right here, and this was visible on a couple of different websites, and we can see in the background there are a bunch of Guardians fighting across different landscapes and stuff like that. And while it's hard to make out for sure, there was some speculation about some of the weapons that Guardians are actually holding in the background. So some folks think that this is the Monte Carlo right here. Obviously we don't have the highest resolution images, but people have also speculated that a Guardian on the right hand side is holding the Thorn. This is pretty interesting because Anon the 9 had previously leaked that Thorn would return in Joker's Wild, so that would definitely make sense. There's also speculation that the Guardian you can see on the end right here is fan firing the last word. That's certainly what it looks like, but that one is aligned with Season of the Shadow, which doesn't correlate to previous leaks that last word would return as part of Black Armory. Either way, it's pretty interesting, some potentially returning exotics right there that we're seeing. Leaks had previously suggested at least 2 of these weapons are actually returning to Destiny 2. And remember, Anon the 9, who actually made these leaks originally, correctly called out all of the destinations, the new subclasses in Forsaken. They told us that the Thunderlord would be coming in Festival of the Lost. All of it turned out to be true, so it does seem like these exotics are indeed going to return to the game, and that first little tease that we're getting could be in this artwork. Another quick shout as well, Anon the 9's account has actually been taken off Reddit, so maybe Anon decided to take it down, or they could have been contacted by Activision or Bungie or something, but it certainly doesn't look like we're going to be getting any more DLC leaks in this format anytime soon. Either way, let me know your speculation about those returning exotics down below. We have, however, seen some other elements of Black Armory, so we did see in one of the early reveals the new space that will house the vendor for Black Armory. Obviously dedicated to the Black Armory itself, we can see a bunch of snipers and different weapons housed on these kind of boards throughout the room, and then indeed the Black Armory vendor in the background there. And the space has this kind of vault or hangar type style. Also something we can see in the new DLC artwork are a bunch of keys that the Black Armory vendor actually has on their belt, which of course suggests they have something pretty secretive, maybe some insane exotics and things like that locked away in the vaults of the Black Armory itself. Some of the text also talks about Lost Forges, which according to a leak will be a horde mode where the better you perform, the better the loot is going to be, and with the mode being called Lost Forges, I wonder if we'll actually be forging weapons of light and fury ourselves via this game mode. Certainly going to be really exciting to find out. Something I'd seen a lot of people speculating about since this reveal last week would be the fact that the text for Black Armory lists a new raid. It doesn't specify raid Lair, and so some folks were speculating maybe we'll get a full-blown raid as opposed to a raid Lair. However, earlier on in Forsaken, Bungie did say, if you're holding an annual pass, look for more about the next lair that we're creating for a raider such as yourself real soon, and this was in reference to the Season 5 raid, and there they did specify raid Lair, so I would definitely temper expectations. A raid Lair is almost certainly what we're actually going to get, but of course that doesn't mean that it can't be an excellent experience if it's done well. Just a shout on this subject though, Joe Blackburn, who's been working as the raid lead for quite a long time, is actually moving to a different design lead position at Bungie, and so there will be a new raid team lead. Be Frank Drew on Twitter, who actually was the lead on the Dreadnought, and has worked on multiple destinations, raids, and Bungie titles. And Andrew Hops from the team did give us a tease, can't wait to show you what we've been revving up for Season of the Forge. So it's going to be really interesting to see what this content will be. It's actually pretty cool because Bungie would typically give us a ton of reveals over a number of weeks, but with Black Armory, we're pretty blind still at this point, so it's going to be very curious when we actually get to jump into the game and see what the new content is. Now though, let's get on to a couple more changes for Season 5. I had mentioned new subdivisions to ranks in the Crucible. DMG said, think of how there's an overall Mythic bracket, but 3 subdivisions in the Infamy ranks, and that's in Gambit. They're basically going to do that in the Crucible, and of course they've said that they'll give legendary rewards for all the subdivisions in Gambit, and so it seems like that's what will happen in PvP as well, basically meaning that as you rank up, you'll get more rewards, more opportunities to be recognized. And Kevin Giannis did confirm that the total time to hit ranks hasn't changed, so you don't need more points or anything like that. They've simply subdivided the amounts that they already had to better reflect and award progress, and that change will roll into the game next week on the 27th. For this week though, DMG tweeted, we've got some in-game discounts at Eververse for Black Friday, so 50% off on some of the bundles. You can check that out in the tower if you want to. If you're curious, right here, Bungie did a raid-along stream a few days ago. A bunch of devs play through the raid and talk about the actual design process, and we get some really cool artwork right here. This is a concept for the Vault encounter in Last Wish. We can see some additional images right here, concept art for Riven, as well as early 3D models. And then here, there is actually a prototype version of Riven inside of the space. And it's cool because you can see they're actually building here. You've got the old weapon system in play by the looks of things, and you can see that the encounter space is almost completely different at this point in development. Before they even had a working model of Riven, they actually used a giant Hive Knight turned upside down, simply as a base model to test some of the mechanics for Riven. So it's certainly interesting to get a look at this stuff, and you can check out Bungie's Twitch channel where there's a full archive of that stream if you want to. In case any of you guys are completing Ascendant challenges still, of course we've had the main rotation, so most players have seen all of the Ascendant challenges at least once, but Totally Not Destiny on Reddit did put a full list up with a breakdown of every Ascendant challenge location, as well as the weekly missions for Dreaming City for every week up until June 2019. So if you want a full list of what to expect, you can check that out in the description below. So that's going to do it for the bulk of the new stuff, guys. One final shout right here I wanted to mention. You may have noticed the Not Forgotten in some of the gameplay. I've actually spent the past few weeks grinding out in the competitive playlist. Just yesterday, I finally picked up the Not Forgotten. So of course, this thing is an absolute beast. Very similar to Luna's Howl, has the same bonuses with the exception of range. So Not Forgotten has accurized rounds. It's also masterworked for range. I believe the barrel option is different as well. So it's a slightly godlier Luna's Howl, really. It's definitely one of the longest pursuits I've ever actually followed inside of Destiny. I started playing in comp this season about 4 weeks ago, so I've had Luna's Howl for maybe 3 weeks. And once you have Luna's Howl, you have to get a bunch of kills with the Luna's Howl inside of comp. I believe it's 300 or 400 kills. Once those kills are done, you have to hit legend rank inside of comp, which is essentially 5,500 points, so it's definitely a big grind. And of course, for any of you guys going for this, or indeed Luna's Howl this week, we do have just a few days left, so I wish you all the best. Do bear in mind as well that you can complete these quests in the next season if you don't manage to hit it this time. And the good thing, if that does does happen, or the bright side of that, I suppose, is that there will be some kind of pinnacle weapon next season as well, so you could technically work for 2 pinnacle weapons at the same time, which would definitely be pretty rewarding. Of course, there are plenty of tips videos, guides, and things like that from players much better than me. If you're looking to obtain Luna's Howl, you can check out my friend Cool Guy's video. You've got awesome videos from Astacross, Mtashed, there's a bunch of guys that you can check out, but it's definitely worthwhile pursuit if you're into PvP. I've got to say a huge thanks to my friends as well, Firebolt, who grinded a ton of comp with me for this, and some awesome folks I met along the way as well, Lil Rev, Zeege, a man named Pan, and Boo Boo Doo. I've pretty much spent all my time with you guys, so quick shout out for that. You've made the experience much more enjoyable and achievable. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys real briefly. And once again, good luck if you're going for your Lunas or any of the pinnacle weapons across any content. They're definitely a big grind, but very rewarding when you can get them done. For today though, guys, that is going to summarize my video. So I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know what you're looking forward to with Black Armory. Next week is going to be absolutely insane because this week is going to be a little bit of a quiet one, of course. And then we get all of the reveals for Annual Pass and Black Armory next week, presumably. So things are really going to light up. Let me know what you're looking forward to below. But if you have enjoyed the video, a like is very much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see more Destiny content. For now though, I appreciate you tuning in as always, guys, and I hope you have an awesome day.